No. Well, that got quiet awful quick. We will all pray now. Father, forgive these fools for about what they're undertaking. They will curse you. How are you, all of you? All right? Good. You're saying that today because you haven't started your training yet. Well, it's good to see so many people. Come on, squeeze on in. Get nice and tight. Keep your hands up. Keep your bodies warm, not your hands. Well, we're going to start a process today. A process that hopefully will end up changing some of your lives. And that process is learning how to put yourself not just in shape, but the best shape you've ever been in. It doesn't matter what your age, by the way, whether you're 17 or 85 years old. You're going deaf. Just squeeze on in. Now what we're going to do, we're going to show you how the body functions in health and disease. We're going to show you what your whole body's capable of, both in the form of power walking. By the way, health walking is just a normal walk. Power walking is when you walk very dynamically, where you're using all your muscle groups and you're doing it very fast and aerobically. Race walking is simply going to the maximum capability of power walking. Normally you only go to about 70%, 80% of your normal potential when you're power walking. Race walking, you go the full distance. We'll tell you how to jog, to run, and to race. And again, jogging doesn't necessarily even have to be aerobic. Running is, and racing is full out. The racing we're going to do later on. We're going to show you how to do hills, up and down, stretching, how the body functions as far as preventing any form of injury. Remember, running and walking does not cause injuries. Doing it incorrectly does. You've got some of the finest coaches in the country teaching you, including some of the former and current marathoners and people who've been through this process for some time. The actual techniques are not that difficult to learn. In reality, you could learn them all in one day if you remembered everything. The trouble is our body already has a memory. And we've got to break some of those old memory patterns, because if you're used to walking with your neck craned out or down, or your shoulders forward, or way back like this with your pelvic muscles forward, if you're used to running with your arms up here, or walking, sashaying from side to side, you might have someone tell you 1,000 times, straighten out this and lower this and wrist bone at the hip bone. Consciously you're hearing it. But what's also happening is immediately the memory is coming right back into form. You're bringing yourself right back to where your body has been conditioned. The immune system has a memory. That's why when we start to get sick, if we're under stress, and if we've used sickness as a way of escaping dealing with issues when we're stressed, the moment we're stressed, our body automatically begins to process that stress sickness syndrome. Similarly, if when you were younger and you came to a hill and you started up that hill and you found that you couldn't do it, so you just started, well, even though you're in great shape, you come to a hill, you'll find the same process occurring very often. So we have to go beyond this body-mind connection. We have to, in effect, reprogram ourselves for optimal wellness. Before we get into the actual instructions, and we're going to take you out on the road today, we're going to show you form, we're going to show you proper walking form, running form, stretching, and in subsequent meetings we're going to have our podiatrists, chiropractors, medical doctors who are coaches. And by the way, they don't charge anything for seeing you if it's anything doing with your running or walking. And they will be working with you individually. By the way, everybody gets individualized attention, no matter how fast or slow. Because unlike any of the other groups, we don't go out and solicit young speedsters just to enhance the image of our group. In fact, if anything, is rather unique. We take people who have frequently never exercised, and within 6 months to a year, these people generally are world-class athletes. You take people like Joan Rowland, 3 gold medals at the World Games with the finest athletes in the whole planet this past summer in her age group. Queenie Thompson, gold medalist, World Games. Right here's Queenie. And this past week, or last week at the New York City Marathon, some of you did extraordinary in your efforts. And you've got to remember, just a year ago, 6 months ago, a year and a half ago, these people are right where you're at thinking, what am I doing here? This is dumb. I could be warm in bed. Why didn't I just stop and not come? I can't go out there and do this. Yes, you can. Now, of course, some of you will die in the process. Hey, you win some, lose some. Life isn't perfect. What can I tell you? What I'd like to do is I'd like to introduce you to some people that we consider extraordinary human beings. We like to think that with this training, you're capable of developing character. And even focusing on what quality of ethics you currently have, because in our monthly workshops, and those are held indoors, generally for 2, and this year going to be 3 hours once a month, we don't talk about running or walking as much as we talk about the mind, attitude, and how we can, in effect, change our disposition to be healthier, more dynamic, more in tune with what is normal and natural within nature and ourselves. So you're going to be very capable of running or walking, not just physically, but also changing your disposition, going from hopefully negative and cynical and self-limiting and judgmental and hypocritical, condescending, your average American, to very positive, life-affirming, re-empowering. And we've seen it. If it hadn't been done, I'd say okay, but it's been done hundreds of times. We're starting our 18th year of doing this. And thousands upon thousands upon thousands of New Yorkers and people in the New Jersey and Connecticut come in and learn. Now let me give you an idea. If you can't come every week, that's all right. If you come once a month, it's still all right, because we have made a video, a 4-hour video called Ultimate Training, which members of the group and all the coaches all participate in. We also have a book. In fact, those of you who had the book, and Leo Rivera is the one who distributes the book for whatever costs just a Xerox. We just completely rewrote the entire book from beginning to end. It's been over the last 6 months, but everything is new. Every state-of-the-art thing we could think of in this book. It's a 300-page book on ultimate training. So between the video and the book, which we give you, we don't, for whatever it costs, this non-profit, we donated our time and efforts free to this, at least you'll have something that you can keep referring back to. And also, I realize some of you probably come from an hour and a half, 2 hours away. Once a month, one of the 3 of us who are coaches, Franco Pantoni, who does the walking. Is Franco here today, by the way? Franco? All right. And, or Peter Roth, Howard Robbins, myself, we're going to go out to you and work with you, and hopefully you'll be able to get a group where you're at. So we'll come to you as long as you've made some effort to come here. And if you come here once a month, we'll come out to you once a month. And this way, we won't have a group like this dwindle down. We probably have 250 people here right now, dwindle down to 60, 70 people, 80 people, because we know a lot of you would like to inspire other people. And we'll even get to where we can discuss what do you do if your family is not with you, and what if they start making you feel guilty about spending a morning, out with other people, the jealousies, the envies, the lack of positive motivation on their part to inspire you and to appreciate what you're doing. We'll help you deal with all that. All right, so all the issues that could possibly come up, we're going to deal with. Now, let's bring up some of the people who just did the marathon, because there's our interesting stories. Let's begin right here with Mortimer. Hi, Mortimer. Come on up. Mortimer, you're really going to have to talk loud so everyone can hear you.
Okay.
Don't hold the end, just hold right
Oh,
there.
yeah. Well, this is my second marathon, and it's the first time I did have some trouble with my... I've never had any injuries, but this time I did. Nonetheless, I felt I was going through quite well, but I'd like to have done it faster, and sometime in the future I will. However, I started in this group 3 years ago, and I couldn't do anything. And it took me a long time to learn something about race walking, and now it has so improved my condition. As Gary suggested, it just changes your total attitude and outlook, and I feel so completely different. I live in the moment now and enjoy every moment. I really feel I have a good quality of life, which is something relatively new to me. And I'm more optimistic and just live and enjoy each day. And the marathon, going through it, it was a sort of a meditation for me. I just felt swept through. And
what place did you come in your age group?
My timing was not good.
That's right, but what place did you come in?
I didn't get my card yet, so I really don't know.
What percentage of body fat? Tell them that. I think they'd find that interesting.
Percentage of body... Oh, yeah, my percentage of body fat.
Okay.
I was kind of afraid to take that, but I felt I was in good condition. I've gradually improved my diet, and I was very, very pleased to find that my body fat was 9.4, which I found is quite good.
Keep in mind, he's 75 years old.
76.
All right. Good. He aged. I forget. Everybody else wants to lie. I'm younger.
What's your birthday?
Pardon?
When's your birthday?
Birthday is September 19th.
Oh, well, that's why.
What?
Recent.
Yeah.
So we're very excited that the fact that here's someone 76 with a 9% body fat doing 26 miles, when the average person 76 has a very high body fat, men frequently up around 30%, which leads to degenerative diseases, which can contribute to arterial and arteriosclerosis. So he's reversing that whole aging process. I mean, now this is what a man 76 should look like. And by the way, we have a man 86 who is doing the marathon too, and he's down to around 8.4% body fat.
Oh, I'm not doing too well.
Something to look forward to over the next 10 years. Thank you very much.
Sure thing.
Okay, who else do we have? I'd like for all of you who did the marathon just to come up here and just stand up here, and I'll just run right down the line with you. Walkers or runners? Hi, Liz. Come on up. Let's see everyone. This is Liz. How are you? What's your name? This is Liz's mother. She's been on the diet 2 years. Liz did extraordinarily well in the marathon. She was the second overall woman in the race walking. And do you want to tell us what you've learned?
Oh, boy. What's that? Oh, you're recording?
It's a cockroach. What's it?
Okay. Well, two things I really learned was the importance of relaxing and the importance of water, because I stopped taking any after mile 19, which is a big mistake. So I was pretty crazy by the time I got to the end. But the whole marathon was a wonderful experience. I couldn't have believed it. People told me that the energy of the group would just carry you along, and I didn't believe them. But as soon as we started and the cannon went off, I felt that energy of everyone, and I just said to myself that I didn't have to use any of my own energy because I just had to ride this wave. And I was the most relaxed I'd ever been in any situation except in my dreams, race walking. And I kept that relaxation all the way, except around the 12th mile I started to develop like a cramp in my right leg. And at that point, this other race walker, Sue Lear, caught up with me, and she was going beside me, and she said how she was in such pain. And I looked at her, and she looked so incredibly relaxed, like she was out for a Sunday stroll. And then I just let the relaxation in her body go over to my body, and my cramp went away, and the rest of the race I was very relaxed. But for some reason, I stopped taking water around 19. And I think I thought, well, it's over. I've gotten to the end, because there's only 7 miles left. And I just didn't see any water stations. I didn't take any water. And then when I got to about 23, things started to get rough and very difficult. And it was hard to keep going. And I was a little crazy at that point, thinking these bizarre thoughts that seemed very rational at the time. And then when I finally finished, I was doing about a 10-minute pace, but I think the last 2 miles I was doing a 20-minute pace. So then I went over the finish line, I got some water, and I felt okay after that. So it was. So I learned 2 very important things: relax and take water. And now I have a cold, and I've been trying to relax and drink a lot of water. So.
Good.
Okay.
Hi.
Oh, this was my first marathon, and I enjoyed and ran relaxed, and crowds were wonderful, and they were shouting, "Go, Gary, go!" all the time. I made in 5 hours 39 minutes and was in my age group 42nd out of 71. I'm 73 years old.
Good, thank you.
This was my second marathon. 4 days before the race, I was ready to quit because I had stepped in the pothole and I sprained my ankle, and I didn't think I was going to do it. But I went through some treatments, magnets, magnetic therapy. I went to a chiropractor, had acupuncture, and I was able to run. And it was a great experience. Again, the people were great. Our volunteers that gave us the water were terrific, and I felt fantastic. And thanks to Gary's inspiration, I made it.
And his wife, by the way, his wife's Dolores Perry right over here. And they run the marathon together, and they train together. And what's nice is to see people who can do it as a family, because that's also what we encourage, to grow and to develop health as a family.
Thanks, Gary. My name is Bob, and this is my second marathon. I improved my time by 26 minutes. I made it in under 4 hours. It was an incredible experience. I was totally relaxed. Everything went well for me. I really want to thank the volunteers. I just was so ecstatic about the whole thing. I want to thank all the coaches. It's just been an incredible week. During this week, I was interviewed on a radio station in New Jersey, Bob Abramson, and I had a wonderful experience doing that, and just things have been really great. Did anybody see Peter Roth or Herbert on Channel 7? Yeah, finish line 91. Yeah, they were both on. That's all I wanted to say.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was my first marathon.
Speak up, loud.
This was my first marathon, and about 6 months ago it was the furthest thing from my mind. Didn't have any inkling that I'd be doing something like this. Came over one Sunday and was introduced to Gary and the rest of the group, which automatically became kind of a second family, a group of wonderful people. And going into the marathon, I was very, very nervous. It was still seemed like going into the marathon, it seemed like an impossible feat up to the last minute. Then Gary's such a strong advocate of positive affirmation. That just came into my mind, and I said, okay, calm down, just do it. And the energy was wonderful. Peter is always talking about, or was talking about, negative splits. That seemed impossible. I didn't even want to think about having to do a negative split because I was sure by 16 I'd be crawling or something. By 18 I had a wonderful negative split. It was a lot of fun. I had a great time. Volunteers were wonderful. The whole group was wonderful. Everybody is so supportive, and I'm really looking forward to this year.
Good, thank you. One of the things we're going to do is we're going to start with the people who finished the marathon who want now to do faster, shorter distance races, 10K and under, especially with the indoor training season coming. So I'll be meeting with all of you who want to do, you who would like to become like a Sam Skinner. You can do that. Sam Skinner, by the way, is one of the fastest runners in America. In fact, he's won many national championships. And is Sam here, by the way? And we'll be training people like Sam. Remember, Sam Skinner wasn't born fast. Sam Skinner could be as slow as anyone else. It's in his training and his attitude. So don't feel that you cannot become, in a relatively short period of time, very, very good as a runner. By the way, did any of you take pictures before the marathon of the group? Do any of you have those here?
Yes, there are some here.
Oh, good. Do you have them? Is Gertrude here?
Yes. She's here.
Oh, Gertrude?
With camera.
Great shots.
With camera? Oh, you got pictures? All right, because I'd like to show all the people who were there. And Gertrude, you should be. I want you to take some pictures. Okay? Let's go ahead. Let's run right down through here. All other people who did the marathon, come on up here. I want people to
Well,
speak up.
everybody told me the second marathon would be a lot of fun.
You got to speak loud.
And so there I was. And we started off, and the bridge is the most exciting part of the marathon. The bridge is the most exciting part of the marathon for me. Coming off the Verrazzano and the three streams, and you're going on to the streets, it's just great. It was a clear day and a beautiful day. I caught up with somebody, and we were running together, and for 16 miles it was just great. And somewhere around then I started to get nauseous, and then at mile 18 my hamstring kicked in, and it overwhelmed me. So I said, okay, I'll race walk. And I race walked for, I don't know, maybe 5 blocks. And I said, no, I'm going to finish. And I started to run. I said, I'll throw up in the Bronx.
Oh, that's my borough.
As if no one's going to notice, right?
No.
Not in Queens, no.
They didn't have many crowds in the Bronx. Anyway, I was running, and I kept running, and I was focused on my form, and I was running well, except I had no leg drive. I couldn't pass anybody. Even the Marines passed me, and I kept going, and I finished. And I'm not sure of my finish time because I was a little fuzzy at the end, and I didn't look up at the clock. It's something like 4:45, but I don't know. And I stood there, and they put a medal on me, and they put a blanket on me, and they said, do you want to go to the first aid? I said, no, I'm okay. I'm just a little wobbly. And I just felt so great. It was just a marvelous, marvelous experience for 16 miles.
Is Thelma here? In the back, is Thelma here? I got to see Thelma. Come on up, Thelma. Thelma did something unique. Thelma's one of the finest runners in America. She was first place in the women's age group in the New York City Marathon. Herbert? Is Herbert here? Herbert was also first place in his age group in the New York City Marathon. We had 5 first placers in the New York City Marathon.
My name is Thelma, and the New York City Marathon is very unique, and also our training is very unique. When I finished the marathon, I finished in I'm in the 6 to 9 age group, so I finished in 350. What is it? 350.
Yeah.
Yeah, 350. When I finished the marathon, I felt like I could run another one.
Insanity takes over. Delusional.
I'm serious. This is a very, training with natural living, Gary Null. It's, you really train properly, you eat properly, you get off that red meat, and you get on juices and vegetables. You really feel good. And I had no injuries. And you know, when you come from the marathon, you see so many people limping and walking, but I just felt really, really good. I think I would have liked to improve my time a little bit, but what happened is that it was so crowded coming across the 59th Street Bridge, I just couldn't make any time in coming up First Avenue. But overall, I'm pleased. I came in first place in my age group.